Our opener on Wednesdays is Damien Fleming. Hello to you, Flem.
With the ball. Hey, Gerard. Hey, listeners.
Wasn't it awful?
Yeah, it's just the opposite with the ball, isn't it? That and you might only bowl 1 or 2 overs, so you can just let it go. No warm-up deliveries. And it was an absolute peach from Mitch Perry, wasn't it?
Yes.
It swung in, and that classic hits the seam and goes across. So Jake Weatherald, but, opening the batting, you're going to get the old one of that sort of stuff. Has he enhanced his reputation last season big time? Has he backed it up this year so far? Yes. So that's the positive for Jake, but you feel like he's going to need big runs in the second innings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless there's failures from Renshaw or Constas. But how good's this? We've had the one-day series around it, which we'll talk about. Plenty to talk about that too. The T20 series, Australia-India's, leading. For people that don't know, there's a T20 World Cup in India and Sri Lanka in February and March. So I'd say they'll pick the squad virtually once this series is over, Australia and India. So there's a lot there. And then the Shield, I can't remember this for a few years, isn't it? That there's spots up for grabs. So, I'm mainly watching the VIX, but, you're refreshing all the other Shield scores, aren't you? Just to see who's doing well.
So we want the Brisbane weather to clear today, and Green will bat in Western Australia today. And Webster will bat at Junction Oval at some point. So that gives it. But I just keep thinking of Jake Weather. I was on the team bus this morning going to Junction Oval. Oh, it's a beautiful day for batting outside.
What am I going to do for the rest of the day?
It's cruel.
And Webster bowled and got a wicket.
Yeah. What did you think there?
It's going to be an interesting one. I think even Beau Webster might have come out and said his gut feel is that he's in trouble if Cam Green can bowl. So even that's up in arms a bit, isn't it? Because Cam Green's coming from a stress fracture. He's also coming from a slight side strain. So, I think our number 6 will have to bowl some quality overs. So that's I'm interested to see whether Cam Green can bowl at least half a dozen in each innings.
Yes. Should we have a little listen to Beau Webster? This was him after the day's play.
Depends who you ask, I think. I'd obviously no doubt love to be in the 11. I think I've got a lot to contribute there, and especially this Ashes series. I feel like I'm playing the best cricket of my life at the moment. We've obviously got a potential hole around the top of the order there, and see who fills that. And if they see me as a pure middle order batsman, then I'm probably going to get squeezed out. So that is what it is. I hope I'm still in the conversation, certainly as a batter only, and if not, if it's just the makeup of the team, I'll plug away back in first class cricket.
It wasn't until Meredith actually came in that the game really took shape. But so everyone's doing the right thing by the national setup.
But even Beau's comments there, mature, realistic, practical, and that's the way he's played at Test cricket level as well, isn't it? So I even in those comments, I just say, he's fine. If he gets a game, he's going to do or hold himself really well against the Poms there. But, there is a realism with certain spots as well, isn't there? It's generally openers and wicket keepers and all-rounders, spinners. There's only one spot there. So a lot's going to play out in the next few days.
Yes. I noticed your influence just right throughout last week. So you made the case for Matt Renshaw, which was then followed by Greg Chappell, Alan Border. It built as the week, and then he made a 50, first 50 since 2017 for Australia. If he'd just been able to convert that into a little bit more, but he's already made 1 century at Shield level. Can he make another one?
Yeah, certainly. I spoke at a Queensland Bulls lunch last Thursday, so I had the Queensland top 3 playing in the Ashes.
Yes, you played to the strength
Did
there.
you say that different states? I go, yep, don't worry about that. But and really, it was only as we were talking last week, it sort of hit me a bit that the credence the selectors put on that Renshaw and Khawaja bat with each other for Queensland, because I remember Jakey Weatherald and mainly in the BBL batting with Alex Carey, they were sensational, scintillating. They won a BBL where Jake scored 100. So back then you thought this guy is going to keep going up. But they were always, it wasn't quite Rick Darling and Graham Wood, but the run out was always into play. So that dynamic is that, you got a little bit of a name as a run or scattery runner between wickets, Jake Weatherald, to go against Usman Khawaja, who at 38, he's not trying to break speed records between the wickets these days.
No.
So to have a top three who know batting together so much at state level, I think, there's a fair few bickies in there as well.
K-Man's playing weather forecast for us in Brisbane. Overcast day in Brisbane today, but not much rain around so far this morning. The boys should get on. But it will be the only day of play for this Shield match. Big rain forecast for the next couple of days. That's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, you don't get the chance to enhance your stakes into the first test, but you don't hurt them as well. Whereas by playing and missing out like Weatherall, it can hurt you a little bit there. My gut feeling is I reckon they'd have to be 99% sure now, and it'd only be some anomalies in scoring or wicket taking that would change their philosophy. I just feel like Renshaw, as I said, getting brought back into the one-day team instead of playing another Shield game says, one, they obviously see him as a three-format player, and he has adjusted his game that way, hasn't he? He's become a really good white ball cricketer for Queensland and the Heat. But, that 100 in the first game, significant, and it does, we don't know where Constas will go, but Renshaw debuting at 20 and getting out of the team and batting in the middle order and all that, often their second or third chance, you get a more finished product.
Yep.
And that's hopefully what we're getting with Matty Renshaw.
So it will be interesting. The squad, the decisions won't be finalised in the squad, but they will only choose one opener. So both Webster and Green will be there. We'll see who their next bowler is because they'll have an additional fast bowler in there. And then they will split between, I think it's Renshaw and Weatherald. I don't imagine it's Constas, but they'll split between those and only put one of them in the squad. And then the subsequent decision is going to be whether Green plays as a specialist batter and whether they manipulate the order because of that. But that won't be done until just before the test. So really the one decision is how are we separating these openers at the end of the third Shield round?
Yeah. So you have actually put a bit of wobble in there is if Cam Green struggles to bowl. Because then there's been chat about, well, Marnus needs to open and Green at 3, and then Webster bats at 6 because he can bowl some handy overs. I mean, for me going forward, I don't like that. I think, I've been saying it probably last summer as well, is we need to ingrain at least one opener, not a makeshift opener, because, pretty soon we're going to need two because, Usman could finish up after this Ashes. Well, hopefully he gets through, gets runs, and he can go out on his own terms. But, we need to ingrain an opener. And this is the opportunity here. And then if they feel like number 6 has to bowl, well, Green misses out.
Yes, I'm in that camp. There is a different way of thinking, as you rightly point out. And the point's been made on the text is Weatherald and Renshaw might very well be the opening pair, if not by Sydney, then in the next test series, which is South Africa, I think. So, as these decisions are looming. The ODIs, so I sat with Trent Copeland on Saturday as he watched Josh Hazlewood, and I was thinking of you as well. The bowlology around Josh Hazlewood, he is exactly where you want him to be heading into a summer.
And it's strange too. I mean, he tried to adapt different philosophies into white ball cricket, and funny enough, in the IPL, he decided to go back to just bowling his natural, Hazlewood Hall way of hesitation, and less varieties. He's got the knuckleball, but length balls with his pace and his bounce is actually working. He's not the AJ Tye and Ben Lachlan bowling, 12 different balls within your 4-over spell. And I just look at his run up now. It just looks so well grooved, doesn't it? By the time he's halfway through it, you just expect this is going to be a good ball. And he bowls a huge percentage of high quality deliveries in all 3 formats. And we need him because last week I said, he's only had one full test summer once, that was 2 years ago, in the last 5 years.
Yep.
So, if a Stark or Hazlewood went down, then we are starting to get into that questionable fast bowling stocks because Michael Nees has been rested for this game. So we could read into that, he is the backup. He might play the next Shield game in the lead up to it, but we want to make sure that he's ready to go if there is something that happens there. But Hazelwood, I don't know what you think. He's very underrated, isn't he? Just about any other Test nation, if he was their number one quick, not only would he be their number one quick, he'd be one of their all-time greatest fast bowlers of all time. We're just lucky we got 3 in one team,
Yes.
haven't we? And just that variety, Stark's left hand pace, but bowling really full. The one thing I've liked about Hazelwood is for a big, tall, fast bowler, I think he bowls a fraction fuller than McGrath. We've had a generation of McGrath likes, and probably Stuart Clark's been the best of those post McGrath until Josh Hazelwood. But, he certainly bowls a lot fuller than I think the old day big, tall, fast bowler who beats the bat but a bit unlucky, misses the edge. I think he does get into that avenue of apprehension, that 5 to 7 metre mark away from the batsman more than anyone else. I think Cumo's a little bit shorter than that, but his big ball is the nip backer in. But Josh has got the one that, more challenges the outside edge. And then when he bowls the bouncer, it's not that much shorter, isn't it? It's really on them. So, and we don't hear much from Josh. We've heard a little bit in the leading into the one-day series, but it seems like he's happy to, be the guy in the background, behind Stark and Cummins and obviously all the great batsmen like Smith and Khawaja and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I hope we have a summer where he dominates, is the best bowler on both teams, and then we are starting to talk about, even though he might not like it, but just talk about how great a fast bowler he is.
I noticed some of the public commentary now has caught up to what you've been talking about for 6-8 months, is just what's in behind our key 4 quicks and what is the future going to look like. I read that, so it's, 20 tests in 14 months. And the question quite rightly being posed is, what does it look like in the 20th test of those? The reserves now, but what's in the underage bracket? Not much in the mid-20s, but the youngsters, and how do you bring them through? So that's all starting to catch up.
Talent-wise, I'm happy. Beardman might get a couple of T20s here, genuine pace. He hasn't played a first-class game. So for him to be part of that 20, it's very doubtful. I love that Vidler, but he's out with hot spots.
Yep.
I don't, Another time, I'll do a bit more research on this. Maybe during the test matches, we'll talk more about this. I just want to do a bit more research. I was part of, I was up at the Centre of Excellence as a coach when a lot of these bowling workloads come in. And, it was horrific, the rate of young fast bowlers we were losing before the age of 16, 17. So something had to happen. But a lot of those workloads, the research behind it, there was still a fair bit of guesswork, and they have stretched out a bit. You bowl a bit more, but have 2 days off, which I think we could all understand there. But we certainly haven't solved it. There's still as many hot spots. Once they get to a reasonable level, like even state under 19 level,
Yep.
There's so many fast bowlers not playing because of that, and I just worry that, if you're not bowling enough when you're young, can your body actually get resilient enough to just go bang? I can play consecutive Shield games. So we're not seeing many young bowlers play consecutive Shield games. They get rested, but are they sore, or are they just getting overloved or hampered with their preparation to be able to play 5 test matches in 7 weeks? So as I said last week, that's you've got to put Cummins and Hazelwood and Stark. They've generally been able to do that, but can the next generation do that? I'm not seeing that in Shield cricket. Very, sort of the medium fast of Fergus O'Neill plays a whole summer, but even with Victoria, Sutherland's had back issues. He doesn't play every game. Mitch Perry, Sam Elliott, McClure, Crone. There's a rotation of them, but at what point do you say to commit to at least one of them to go, nah, you're playing the whole year, and that'll show that you can play a whole series of Test cricket.
Yep.